revised because actually the old version is imagining communities through the lens of civilizations, plural form, and rethinking people of Nepal. So there are two changes in the title. The one is I changed the plural form of civilization to civilization. Another change is from people of Nepal to the people of Nepal. So later I will talk about the reason. So since we today I want to talk something about the civilization. So why through the lens of civilization we can imagine the communities in Nepal. So as we all know that Nepal is a country, so between China and India. So if we look at Nepal, so from the lens of civilization, we can get a little bit different ideas. Yeah, but because I'm an outsider, so maybe my view would be a little different from those of insiders. Yeah, I would like to start the topic from one military. So this is a military. Maybe all of you are very familiar with this, right? So this is how Bhagavad Gita was telling, so the dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna. So during the war, actually, so we can find that in another military. So in this war, Pandava and Kaurava they began to fight with each other, and in the army we can find a lot of different people, different groups. But in this ministry, actually, we cannot tell no difference between those on the horse or those on the elephant. But if we take a look at the epic poem, I mean Mahabharata, we could see that a lot of people was recorded in the epic poem. Even that was yeah, it has a long history. We can date it from 3,000 years ago. So in those in the epic poem, we can find different types of people who are living in the who were living in the Himalayan area. So including like those tribes or kingdoms conquered by the Pandava king, or we can find them in the volume of Bhishma Parva, or there is a very famous story about those Nishada people. Maybe we are very familiar with the story of Eklavik. So he was yeah. Actually, he wanted to be the student of Dora Acharya, but his teacher kind of cheated him and asked him for his son as an offering for him. So even now, so there are some folk tales among those Nishada people. They say they don't want to have a Brahmin as their priest, and they don't want to offer them anything, so because they hate Brahmin. Yeah, so these are very early stories about those people in the Himalayan area. Actually, in those even we have yeah some records on those people, but still not in detail. For example, when the in the volume of Mahabharata, so maybe the author talks about those kingdoms among the in the hilly area of Himalaya, but not so much detailed. So what about those people? So how about their race, and how about maybe what about they looks like Mongoloid people or Aryan people? Yeah, this is not recorded actually. So and we can take a look at this aspect from some recent publications. Maybe, yeah, for example, People of Indian, which was written by Herbert Hope recently. And there is a very interesting idenx, that is nasal idenx. So literally, nasal idenx means the kind of idenx of our nose. So what does this mean? So we can tell So what kind of people you are by looking at your nose. So if you have pointed nose or you have a slanted nose, it means that maybe you came from somewhere. So this is kind of way of telling people so which kind of people you are. Yeah. So those are all knowledge from the south side of Himalayas or southern part of Himalayas, and. Yeah, one people is very important. He is Friedrich Max Müller. Yeah, and very famous Indologist in UK. So actually, you know, if we go to those bookstores which are specialized in Indology studies, we can find a lot of books written by him or those books edited by him, right? And this is one famous photo of him, which was published in 1875, and it is a cover comic picture of Vanity Fair. Yeah, actually, so in his writing, he discussed about those people in India, and especially the language of Aryan people. So how Aryan people they came from their homeland then to different directions. I mean, from their homeland, and they moved to the west, and some of them they moved to the India, and some of them they became Indians. So this is his books are very important for us to understand the early history of Himalayan peoples. I mean, so in very early time, and there are also some very important concept we can think about, that is Sanskritization. So actually, if we look at the concept of caste, which is very familiar to all of you, right? Because you are living in now maybe I cannot say like this, but before Nepal is kind of a caste based society. So, but if we just only look at the concept itself, caste system looks very exclusive, because this system divided people into different layers. Those below to the upper level, those who are Brahmins, those who are Chitri, or those who are Vaishya, or Sundara, or those Dalits. But how caste system can be in such a huge country or a huge area? So it means that it is not so fixed. It can be a little bit flexible, right? So if that is not flexible, it cannot take in other people. I mean, those outsiders into their own society. So actually, caste system is is flexible. I mean, so if we take a look at the I mean not the central part of the caste system, we can find a lot of wiggle part of caste system. And the two books are very important when we talk about the caste system. One is the one written by Indian sociologist and anthropologist whose name is M.N. Srinivas, and he once wrote the book of Kugus in South India, and he mentioned about the idea, the concept of Sanskritization. So how people they become, actually before they were not Hindus, but gradually, yeah, they become Hindu by adopting some Hindu rituals, by having Brahmin priests. So then they gradually become Hindu. They become kind of Sanskritization. So a part of Sanskritization. Another very important book is written by Louis Dorman, so which is Homo Hierarchicus. So this is also a very famous book. But if we compare those two different books, we could find that the first one is it's a little bit the flavor is a little bit like inside flavor, and the second one it has kind of outside flavor. Because like for the first chapter, Louis Dorman he talked about the concept of of individualism in Western society. So actually, he wants to compare the two different societies. Because in West, people they will regard it okay. People they would like to they prefer to choose individualism, and they prefer to think about equality, freedom, and which is totally different from that caste system in India. So what about to compare the outsider idea and the inside idea? So in this book, we can find that a lot of important concepts has been mentioned, uh, including those very vague area. By this vague area, I mean maybe those are not so obviously. So when we talk about caste system, that can be the caste in the village. Maybe in the village, people they were divided into different castes. They do different types of jobs, and yeah, sometimes this can be also academic trend. Actually, in Indian, so there is a trend of religious studies. So anthropologists and sociologists they went to villages to do research and to figure out what about the caste system in the village. But this book is a little bit different because it talked about the caste system as a concept. So how about caste in general sense, and what about the power in the caste system, or what about the economy? They use arta, but this is not the same thing. Actually, and some bigger area. I mean, just around the caste system, we can find some people who are not actually included in the caste system. They are maybe those Muslims who are live quite close to Hindus, but they are not. This society are not a caste society. But we still can find that they got some influence from Sanskrit civilization, or they got some influence from Sanskritization. Yeah, for example, sometimes they will divide people into different groups, and some of them they will be responsible for certain work, and some of them they also have the concept of purity. Some people they are purer than others. Maybe they are priests, and some people they are not pure, or maybe we can say that they are a little bit like those Dalits in the Hindu society. Okay, let's move to another part of this story. So actually, I just talked about the story just from one side. I mean, the southern part of the Himalayas. So maybe we can take a look at Nepal, or we can say Himalayas from the northern side. It is a picture, watercolor painting. It is not a very old one, which maybe it was done maybe 3-4 years before in China, which was done by a Chinese artist whose name is Jing Shaoying. So he did this painting, and this painting depicts 56 nationalities of China. So we use nationality to define those ethnic groups in China, and this number is fixed. So we can see a lot of different types of people, yeah, in China. They have different faces. I mean, some of them you can see they are a little bit Mongoloid, and some of them they looks like Aryan people. Yeah, and some of them they are also living close to the Himalaya area. Maybe we can find that some people they will looks like Sherpa people or Gurung people, Daman people in Nepal. So we can find them. So in this picture also. So what about the daily living area? So this is the map of China. If we take a look at this map, we could find that. So, Luigi, can I use some?
Okay.
Or yeah, great.
Last one.
So,
Last one.
how to use this
Last,
one?
yeah.
Last one?
Sorry.
No.
Excuse me.
Sorry. But at that time, China is not so huge. So, culture assimilation was happening at the time. So, as we can see, so the majority of Han people they live in the central part or the eastern part of China, which means so actually everywhere because about 90% of Chinese population were Han people. So the majority of them will live in so mainly this area. So what about those people we've just seen in that picture? They are living along the border side. So that is why it looks a little bit different from Han people. And how they, there is one theory about the
Last one. You can press the last one.
Oh, agree. Then I got the modern tool. We take a look at the geographical map. We could see that there are a lot of rivers and valleys, hilly areas in this region. And there is one theory about how those people though migrate from the inner part of China to different parts of China, even to the Himalayas, even to the Southeast Asia. So from here, then gradually people they go down to the valley, then to Yunnan, and then to Southeast Asia. Or another route is from this place, we call it Qinghai and Gansu. They migrate from here, and then gradually they went to Tibet, and some of them they will go through the valleys of the Himalayas, and then they settled in Nepal. So we can find a lot of clues in the folk tales of those communities in the northern part of Nepal. For example, Sherpa people, a lot of stories about their origin. They will tell that their ancestor was came from China, from Kham. A lot of different things about this. So in China also we have a lot of academic researches has been done. So this is actually the first one who argued the Tibetan e-corridor. Yeah, I forgot to mention the concept Tibetan e-corridor. So Tibetan we know the concept. It is very important as nationals or ethnic groups in China and in Nepal also. And E, what is E? E is also an ethnic group. So if we take a look at this photo, we could find them. They are here. So why it is called Tibetan e-corridor? This is not a corridor in our house. So it is a corridor for migrations. So actually Tibetan, they traditional residential area is like here to Luzang, Kham, and Amdo. And for E people, they usually live here. So in Sichuan and Guizhou and Yunnan, roughly this place. So this corridor is between two important ethnic groups, especially Tibetans and E people. So what about so we have known that where it is. So what about the cultural traits? So there are some literatures argued by our scholars. So this is one paragraph I abstracted from the one paper of Fi Xiaotong. Fijiatong is the founder of China's anthropology and sociology, who is a student of Malinowski. So he first argued the concept of Tibetan e-corridor. So if we set one place of come as a center, and we draw a corridor from the north and from the south, and we could find a lot of historical problems, or before we cannot solve. So, for example, the linguistic and the where people where they were from. So, if we collect those small problems together, it is like to playing kind of Chinese chess. So, Chinese chess. I don't know whether you have any idea of that kind of chess. When we play that chess, there are only two different types of chess. One is black, one is white. So if we play that chess, if we collect all those chess together, so it means that we will win. So if we take a look at the corridor, we could find that this corridor is between Yi and Tibetan. So a lot of historical history still remains in this corridor. Another description was mentioned by an Englishman whose name is H.R. Davies. So he wrote a book, Yunnan, the link between the Indian and Yangtze River. So in his light, Yunnan is like a chain between Indian and the Yangtze River, because it collects two different regions together. So by going through those rivers, so people they can travel. They can travel from very north place to very south place, and then even to very south place, even to they can go to the sea, to the islands. So what about the culture in those areas? There are also some arguments about this area. I mean the corridor. So people they can find actually if we go to even now we go to the Tibetan corridor, we could find a lot of people. They are very close to each other, but they have different culture. But actually they share very similar culture. For example, maybe some of them they eat same food. For example, dried pig skin, or they raise yaks, or they believe in Bung religion. And still a lot of cultural details also, and maybe the most important thing is the language. Although sometimes they live very close to each other, but they cannot communicate with each other, which is also a little bit similar to the northern part of Nepal. Even they are close, the dialects are a little bit different. But generally speaking, the language belongs to the same system. That is Tibetan Burmese language system. Another argument was argued by Professor Li Xiaoming. That is, we just seen the map. So there is 6 rivers. There are 6 rivers. We could see that 6 rivers in this area. So people they can travel, and people they can settle. But if they settled, and sometimes they don't need to move to other regions, or they can depend on those businessmen who were traveling, or just go by their homes. So generally speaking, it is a region like kind of majority. So it's not in the center of one culture, but like it's like it is not in the center of Han ethnic group region, and it is not in the center of Tibetan culture region, and it is even not in the center of Yi culture region. So it is a kind of a majority region. There are also two important books on this area. So talking about the ethnic relations. So if we want to know something about the Chinese nationality policy, it would be better to first to read this book, Toward the People's Anthropology, which was written by Fi Xiaotong. So, and this is a very important book, and because it's recorded about how those different ethnic groups, or we say nationalities, were divided into 56 different groups, and yeah, another book is this one. I think actually even this one is very important, but it has not been translated into English. But it's still important, I mean, for the region study, especially for Tibetan e-corridor studies. So this book talks about, yeah, so I've tried to translate this. So it talks about Chang between Han and Zhang. So actually this is not about Yi, but about another group, Chang. Chang is not the Nepali beer we drank. So it is a name of an ethnic group. The name is Chang, no, not Nepali Chang. Okay, yeah. So this is a historical anthropology study on Chang people. So Chang people actually they also live in the Tibetan e-corridor, and they are living between Han and Tibetans. So what about those people looks like? So this is a photo of Zen priest, kind of shaman. But if I don't say he is from Chang people, maybe we could say okay, maybe this man is from looks like Daman Jakari. Do you think so? A little bit looks like. For me, I just find some similarities. Another photo we can see. Yeah, this is another photo of Chang's shaman. So we could find some similarities also. The types of his wearing, his coat, and his drum was made with some goat skin, and yeah, actually a lot of similarity can be found. So, and there are also some arguments by scholars. They say maybe we could also regard the Sichuan or Tibetan e-corridor as one part of Himalayas, but for me this is too broad. Yeah, how about the book? Yeah, we just talk about the book. Chang between Han and between Han people and Tibetan people. So it talks about this ethnic group, the story. I mean the history of Chang people. For them, it is very interesting because they are also living in different valleys, and the valleys are close to each other. But sometimes they will judge others by their valley. For example, if my home is at this valley, I will say, oh, there are people in another valley. They are more like Han people, or those people in another valley, they are more like barbarians. So this is kind of another way of thinking about people by judging whether they are civilized or uncivilized, whether they looks like Han people or they looks like barbarians. So it is very interesting because people they always judge themselves by looking at others. So and then they could know who they are. Okay, let's return to the topic, Nepal and the Himalayas. So actually, if we just talk about Nepal, that would be a very simple question, right? So actually, all of you have better knowledge about Nepal. Yeah, better knowledge than me. So you know all those people in Nepal, and you know the way of living, and those people how they live in Nepal, and how you divided them into different types of groups, and yeah. But if we look at them from a more broaden view, if we look at them from It's like we can both see them from the view of Nepal. We can see them like in India or in Bhutan or in Pakistan also, or in those hilly area of Bangladesh, or in those western part of China. We could also find a lot of people that looks very similar, but actually they are different. Yes. So so firstly we can divide them into different concepts. So we can see sometimes we talk about Bhotia, but in Nepal, Bhotia is just a very small group who live in the high mountain, and we can see a lot of Bhotia people. Maybe we talk about when we talk about Bhotia, we are talking about those people from Mustan, those people from Manan, or kind of Hulia people. So this is also a way of try to defy others. So those who from the northern part of Nepal, who are Bhotia. So before actually if we look at maybe several hundreds years ago, we could find a lot of Bhotia people. Even now, so last time when I talked with a Daman professor, I said, "Oh, do you think are you a Bhotia?" So he looks a bit confused because actually for some of you will think Bhotia is a little bit offensive, right? So but actually,
It is true. It is true.
yes, yes,
Because
yes.
before we used to be called bodies.
Oh, yes,
Down
yes.
people, yeah.
All right, well.
Yeah, it is.
Great, okay. Yeah, but for me, yes, because I'm just a Bidesh, so a Bidesh does not know so much. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay, I will do it.
Oh. So let's look at some other groups in Nepal. Maybe we look at Gurung, Sherpa, Thakali, and Daman. So in Tibetan literature, we could also find many words on equal words on them. I mean in Tibetan. So these are the Nepali family. Then we could also find them in Tibetan, and they have their own explanations for them. Actually, I found that maybe for mainly those people in the Himalayan area, they try to explain the history from two different ways. Some of them they will try to explain the history from the Sanskrit culture, and some of them they try to explain the history from the Tibetan culture. So, but sometimes this can be both. Yeah, makes sense. And Daman before they were called Burmi. Yeah, so before that is they were called Burmi, but so when the king and then prime minister here. They decide to define those Murmi people as one group Daman people. Then thing changed. Another case is in Bhutan. So those people were divided into different groups also. The majority of Bhutan they will try to divide those people from outside areas, those from the north, those from the east. So those people from India, those people from Nepal, so they have their own majority also. So we could say the way of the way of thinking of those people in Himalayas, how they define themselves and how they define others. It is very interesting because if we compare the case of Nepal to the case of Bhutan, the case of China, the case of India, we could find a lot of similarities. A lot of people actually they originate from very similar, no, from one place, maybe from one region, but now up to now, so in modern times, so they have different identities and different way of thinking. So So this is about my old title. So it's rethinking on people of Nepal. So before I want to say something about this book, this is also a very famous book. So if you go to when I was student, where I went to the bookshop to say, oh okay, Sauji, I'm a student of anthropology. You have some book to recommend to me? So they will give me this book. Yeah, so this is very famous in Nepal, huh? So and this should be the first book for students to reading if they want to know something about Nepali people. Yeah. So because Bista, so he's a student of Führer Haibendorf. So we could find a lot of functionalism and flavor in this book, so which is very close to the writing of Malinowski and Führer Haibendorf. Yeah, and this is also very important because from his times, a lot of people they were divided. So those people from the hill area, those people from Darai area, and those valley people. So this is one step to know people of Nepal from the outsider. Another is actually I did a case study in Tamil when I was a student. So I would like to share the result with you. So in this study, I did research in Tamil and tried to figure out what kind of people in Tamil and which caste they belong to. So maybe if I ask you, so where they from or what is their caste, maybe you have a very clean answer. What about the majority for those shopkeepers in Tamil? Do you have any idea about those shopkeepers? Sister? Nevas, yeah. Yes, a lot of shopkeepers, they are Nevas. But actually, at the same time, there are a lot of shopkeepers who are Brahmin, Chetri, Thakri, and some also Janajatis, Muslim, Madhesi, Dalit, and Sannyasi, and other Nepalese. There are also some. So actually, here is Nevas. So they are on the top of this list. So they are the majority of the shopkeepers. Then we can see Brahmins, Chetri, Thakri, Janajatis, including those Burung, and the Daman people, and other like Sherpa, and Muslim, Dalit, Madhesi, Sannyasi, and other Nepalis. And here is those foreigners. So what about those foreigners in Tamil? We could see, a lot of people they from India. They are doing those cashmere and jewelry business, and it is very difficult for me to define them. So those from Tibet, and those from other region of China, and those Pakistanis. So we could say that Nepalese and those Bideshis. So for me it is very interesting because this is my first step to try to know something about the ethnic relations in Nepal. So how people they can be together, or they help treat each other, or how they define themselves by talking with each other. So and what about the relations with those from different countries? Not just the relation between them and those tourists. So if we just look at this table, we could find all those, especially just several cases I got. They are not in the Himalayan areas, but the majority, most of them, they will come from the Himalayan areas. So now a lot of Indians and Bhutanese and people they come also, but they are not majority. So we could see. Another thing is tourism. So this is actually is an old it's an old chart which was done about 4 years before. Yeah, but so we could see that this This line is Indian. Those people, those tourists who came from India, a lot of people, those people who came from different countries then to Nepal, and those people who came to Nepal for sightseeing or pilgrimage or yeah. So we could say yeah. The largest group is from India. So So what happened? It seems very strange, right? And then here is China. Oh, it seems yeah, it will catch up the Indian. But what happened? Yeah. So we know what happened, yeah, because at that time I was in Nepal, so earthquake happened. So this is the photo I got just after the earthquake, because at that time I was staying in Bhaktapur, and then earthquake came. Then so I have no choice but to decide where to go. Then I came to Tamil. So at Tamil I've done some researches before, and at that time no one in the street, and all the shops are closed. It is very sad. So this is why. So actually things very good. Yeah, a lot of Chinese people they come here. They come to Nepal. They spend money. They want to buy Nepali goods also, and some of them they invest in Nepal. They want to do their business. But suddenly earthquake happened. Yeah. I think now it's time to have some preliminary conclusions. Actually, so for my talk, I just want to mention some questions, to share some questions with you, and I just I'm still doing research, trying to go through those literatures, including those in Nepal or in India or in Bhutan or in different countries of the Himalayan belt. But if but now we can return to our topic, try to rethink about the people in Nepal. We could find some keywords even in modern society. If we just look at the modern society, we could find some ethnic groups. They will say, oh, okay, we are Mongoloid. Or some they will say, okay, we use Tibetan Burmese language. We speak like Tibetan, or we language is close to blah blah blah, and or we have a very pointed nose, or we don't have pointed nose. We have plain nose. So yeah, so we how to say that? So maybe if we don't have pointed nose, we are Mongoloid. Or some people they will say, okay, we are decent. We are the sons and of Aryan people. So we use Indo-Aryan language. So we have pointed nose. So if we make very roughly categories, we divided Nepali people into several categories. We could find some keywords also. Maybe sometimes in the book of people Nepal. So Doba Dubista divided the people of Nepal into those from the hill area, the high mountain area, and those from the hilly area, and those from the dry area. But we still could find some very roughly conceptions about whether they were Bhotia or they were Kirat or they were Newars. So a lot of categories we can find. I think my time is finished. Right? Yeah. but we still have time more. Okay. And we can think about more questions. Yeah, maybe not from the modern, from not just from the modern view of this society. We can think about the relations among those communities in the Yam. In the Yam. Yeah. So when we talk about Nepal, we say it is a Yam, right? Relations among those people in the Yam. So how to link the corridor in China. So we have done a lot of researches, but before we don't have any money to do research outboard, to do research in Nepal. So how can we link Zhang Yi, which means Tibetan Yi corridor, with the Central Himalayas? Actually, we could find a lot of similarities. For example, those people who live in different valleys, they close to each other. They speak Tibetan Burmese languages, sometimes they will looks very similar, but they will say, oh no, we don't want to talk to each other. Is it similar in Nepal? So another is a kind of influence from huge civilizations. For example, from Indian or Sanskrit civilization, or those from mainland China, or from Tibetan. From Tibet, we could see it from a very broad view, Sanskritization versus civilization. Actually, some of those groups, they come from north. They look like, and they don't have pointed nose, and they will say, okay, our ancestors come from India, and our ancestor has a surname like Rana, Shah, or yeah, something like this. Or how to define the civilized or uncivilized, how to tell the difference between civilized people and barbarian people. Yeah, so there are more questions we can think about, and I would like to stop here and to discuss.